CBS Radio News, Chattanooga's news, talk, and sports leader.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Well, it's not a good time to be a Spaniard, apparently, because there's been an outbreak of bulls running in the streets. Oh, wait, that's something they do all the time. This is Digital Drive. I'm your host, Russell. We're talking about technology and quite a bit more. A Spaniard was apparently fatally gored while he was trying to film a bull run on his smartphone. Yes, fatally gored. Gored as in a, not an antler, what is it they have? A horn went, into him and killed him. While the Spanish town of Pamplona hosts the world's most well-known running of the bulls, the other cities in Spain, Portugal, and nearby nations also host their own annual runs where bulls run through the city streets while locals and tourists run alongside or away from the giant beasts, which doesn't make any sense to me, because why would you put yourself in personal danger? There's always a chance of you getting pretty well killed when you're doing that sort of thing, so it seems kind of, kind of stupid, actually, but, there's a rich history and culture behind that, so, they can have it. For one participant of a Sunday bull run in Vilasera, I think, Vilasera de la Sagra in Spain, which I know I butchered the name of that because I don't speak Spanish very well, trying to share his experience by way of smartphone recording, it kind of ended traumatically. According to details ascertained from a local Spanish language report and English language AFP report and a bystander video of the incident, a 32-year-old man was gored from behind while attempting to to film that city's annual bull run. Now, you would think at the age of 32, you would know better than to stand right in the way of a bull. Maybe I'm wrong. The bystander video, which was posted on Sunday on Instagram, I haven't seen it because I can't find it anywhere, showed the currently unidentified victim standing near a barricade so that he was behind other viewers and away from the general fray of the bull run. However, a stray bull appeared to become separated from the general herd, at which point it then ran at full speed behind the crowd and struck the 32-year-old while he was holding a smartphone to film the opposite direction. According to reports, after receiving brief treatment at a nearby Bull Rings Medical Center, the victim was transferred to a hospital in nearby Toledo, not in Ohio, where he was soon pronounced dead from neck and thigh wounds. Bulls are dangerous animals, and when there are a lot of people, some don't pay attention. Vilasera Mayor Jesus Hayosa, I think, told the AFP in a report. Hayosa confirmed the victim was using a smartphone as a video recording device when attacked, saying, "You have to have your wits about you." Well, yeah, there are bulls running around. Of course you do. Vilasera's last bull-related fatality was in 2010, according to the AFP. In general, the rise of smartphones has alarmed some bull run organizers. Alarmed? Why? In recent years, particularly last year's Pamplona run. At that event, a man was seen running through the crowd while holding his cell phone backwards and looking at it while running to take a higher-res selfie than a front-facing camera would allow. Pamplona police sought to fine the man €3,000 for endangering himself and other runners. Yet still, it shows an interesting trend that we have here in not just our country, but also in Spain, apparently, where smartphones have become kind of a distraction. Now, I'm not at all at any point ever going to argue for a crackdown on technology. No, never. I would never do such a thing because I am a firm and steadfast believer in technology. I think that technology is only helping us to progress forward and not to regress backwards. The problem, though, is people don't change. Technology changes around us, but we really don't change. We stay the same, and we have done for the last, forever, as long as we've existed. Case in point, people will say that this new form of journalism is totally ridiculous, and it has no place in real journalism, and things have changed completely. That is the use of BuzzFeed-style clickbait that you see all the time. Well, actually, that's not anything new. Think about it this way. You'll see on Facebook, and I know everyone knows someone who does this. They'll post something where it's share this or else you're a bad person, or this is someone who was shot doing such and such. This is someone who has severe burns. Share this or whatever, or just share this for no reason or whatever. I hate stuff like that so much. I cannot express with words how much I hate clickbait because it's absolutely the worst thing. It just makes no sense to me that people actually share nonsense like that. But also, it seems just completely just asinine to think that sharing something on Facebook makes any difference whatsoever, because it really doesn't. I'm not going to click on your link, and I don't really care to know what is contained in that. So it just seems really ridiculous to me a lot of the time because I see this stuff posted, but that's not anything new, especially BuzzFeed articles. You'll see this all the time from BuzzFeed articles. I'm not even going to knock BuzzFeed because honestly, it's popular and it works. So obviously the marketing is successful, but BuzzFeed is a website where you'll see a lot of the time headlines from BuzzFeed being shared on Facebook with top 10 reasons such and such happens, or top 3 reasons living in the 90s was the best is a good example, or top 4 examples of why America rules and stuff like that. You'll see top 8 this or that, or I couldn't believe number 3, and all these different things. And that's actually not a new tactic. That dates back to the 1960s with magazines, which would do exactly the same thing. Vanity Fair, Vogue would sometimes do something similar. Cosmopolitan, obviously, would be the prime example of clickbait in the real world. So we see this sort of thing, and it dates back to the 1960s and probably before then, too, because you have yellow journalism, sensationalism in media, all sorts of different things, probably dating back even to the hear ye, this be the news of the present day and hour from medieval Europe and even before then. So really, this sort of thing is nothing new. And same goes for people being dumb. People being dumb with smartphones is nothing new. In fact, people being dumb in general is nothing new, and people are generally kind of stupid. So the smartphone is a new tool to use to be stupid with, and the tool itself has really nothing to do with it. I like to consider myself somewhat not stupid. I certainly would not go to a bull run or running of the bulls, and I certainly would not film myself at that unless I was well outside of any realm of danger, because I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to personal harm. I do not want to be hurt, thank you very much, because I have a job to go to, especially my voice. I'm paranoid about ruining my voice because one time I did and it was awful and I couldn't work. And but anyway, yeah, people being dumb is nothing new, and technology is not even helping that along, really. People are just stupid. Like, for instance, people say that, texting while driving is a big problem. Well, yes, it is. Texting while driving causes tons of accidents. Well, yes, it does. But people have problems with distracted driving all the time anyway. It's not like distracted driving is anything new. It's just a new tool to help that along. And people do campaigns saying that, well, if you text and drive, you might crash and die, which is actually a really good slogan, and I should use that. Don't text and drive, you might crash and die. That's that should be the new slogan for the new campaign from the ad council. I can see the billboards with it now. Don't text and drive, you'll crash and die. It'd be awesome. And I totally need to campaign for the ad council to do something like that, because maybe that would be the only way to get across. Yet still, it doesn't matter, because any amount of marketing is not going to stop this from happening. That's the thing. People these days, for some reason, think that awareness is going to fix all of our world's problems, when it really doesn't work that way. Awareness is not going to fix anything. If I'm aware of something, okay, big whoop, I'm aware of it, but I don't really care. You see, not to say that I don't really care, because I do, but there's always going to be someone who says, well, okay, yeah, I'm aware, but I don't really care. A better example we see now, smoking is actually kind of somewhat on the rise, depending on whom you ask, but we keep seeing smoking as a, I guess, problem, depending on how you look at it, in today's youth. And I saw this ad the other day from the ad council, of course, government-sponsored ad, saying that we could be the generation that stops smoking. That's not going to happen, because I know people who smoke. I have smoked in the past. I don't presently, but I have. And it's just, it's not anything new. And people are going to continue to do it no matter what. There's no real stopping anything like that. So raising awareness is not going to fix anything. Trust me. Well, here's something that sort of surprised me, although it really shouldn't have. And by the way, this is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. You can download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You can save half off now if you go to hotnewstalkradio.com. Click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Well, the police, according to Ars Technica, cops were filmed behaving rather badly, and now they say that the pot shop camera that filmed them behaving rather badly was actually illegal. So, yeah, who could blame Santa Ana cops for being upset, I guess? Video shows them smashing surveillance cameras, bad-mouthing a woman in a wheelchair, and perhaps even munching on marijuana-infused products, allegedly, of course, after they stormed a medical marijuana shop in Southern California, which was being investigated for allegedly operating unlawfully in the city. remember, investigated and allegedly. Now, 3 of the unidentified cops are demanding that a judge block the police department from using the tapes against them as the department investigates the officers' conduct during the May raid. The cops at the center of the investigation say that the Sky High medical marijuana dispensary, illegally recorded them because the officers believed that they had disabled all the store's cameras and therefore had an expectation of privacy, except they're not on their property, is the problem. This is a private residence, or at least it's a private business, just the same as if the cops raided my house, I could film them if I wanted to. Same goes for a business. So their argument of reasonable expectation of privacy is, of course, ridiculous, and they've no grounds for that. I hope, anyway. The cops at the center of the investigation say that it's illegal somehow, saying that their conversations were no longer being recorded, or rather they believe that, and that's why they think they have an expectation of privacy, according to the cops. On an August 5th lawsuit, the suit says that the tapes were also edited and cannot be relied upon. Well, okay, were the tapes edited or not? How can we determine that? Well, that's for another discussion and another investigation, certainly, because it needs to be a fair investigation, right? A hearing on the issue is scheduled for Monday in an Orange County Superior Court. The dispensary's attorney, I should say, Matthew Pappas, said in a telephone interview that there is nothing doctored in those videos, and those videos are what the officers did. Now, obviously, analysis can be done to ensure that the tapes were not edited. It being magnetic tape, after all, I'm sure you can find out whether or not it's been edited because there'd be obvious splice points. So it shouldn't be that hard, unless it was dubbed, of course. But then again, you'd be able to tell that too, assuming it's magnetic tape. If it's not, then it'd be even easier to tell because digital files leave a footprint. So if officers concerned about the video showing something being bad by them, they should not have broken the law during the raid, Pappas said. The video shows officers breaking through the door, ordering everybody down to the ground at gunpoint, which is, of course, way overboard. The officers are also recorded playing darts and perhaps, maybe, allegedly eating edible marijuana products. 2 of them also joked about a wheelchair-bound amputee who was at the shop. Yeah. And so Papa said that he released 2 edited short videos of the tapes to the media, one of which had added subtitles. But there is 14 hours worth of raw footage that he turned over to the Santa Ana Internal Affairs investigators, and hopefully he'll release online as well. The 3 police officers trying to quash the tape contend that the editing was illegal, or rather the recording was illegal, because under California law, all parties to a confidential communication must consent to the recording. Papa said that there are signs throughout the store notifying patrons that they were being monitored in the video. He also says that this is outrageous. Papa is suing the department in federal court on behalf of the Marijuana Collective and some of its patrons as well. The collective claims that officers were intentionally destructive and destroyed video surveillance equipment, safes, furniture, fixtures, doors, and other property at the collective. What's more, during the raid, officers consumed food products that were the property of the collective, according to the suit. Some of the patrons allege that they were detained for hours and placed in fear by the officers. So will there be accountability is now the question that should be asked. Of course, there should be, but will there be? Now, this is California, sometimes referred to as California for sometimes good reason, obviously. But it's, it's just one of those things where it's really frustrating to watch because these cops are obviously crooked. Just by watching the video, you can pretty much tell, and you also know that not the full extent of the law is probably not going to be used against them, unfortunately, because they have the Fraternal Order of Police behind them. They have all sorts of protections. Very, very obnoxious. Now, you would be fair in saying that I might be a little bit overzealous in my critique of the police officers in this particular case, but this is because I think that the war on drugs is ridiculous and also illegal and also immoral. So that would be one reason, but it just seems so ridiculous that these extensive measures are being taken against a weed dispensary, which is obviously out in the open and open for business nonetheless. So they're not really hiding anything. They're not hiding the fact that they were selling marijuana-related products. So what's the big deal, really? And plus, it's California. I mean, who cares, man? Even if it was open here in Tennessee, I kind of doubt that the cops would handle it that way. Now, you might wonder, why are the cops so overzealous? And frankly, they're acting as zealots almost for the state in this case. Why are they so angry about weed? Well, it's funny because actually lots of police organizations get very, very upset about the legalization of marijuana, which is odd. You wouldn't think that they would, but they do. Reason being, now there are many reasons being, one of the good reasons, which isn't actually a good reason, is because the legalization of weed would mean far fewer arrests, I should say. Far fewer arrests if this is made legal, which means that the police wouldn't have nearly as much to do. Also, the prisons make a ton of money, I mean a ton of money, on detaining people in detention centers for the possession, sale, or use, consumption, what have you, of marijuana and marijuana-related products. So, or cannabis-related products, whatever you want to call them. So there's a lot of reason why the police are very mad at the legalization of marijuana, which is actually kind of funny because it shows how obsolete they are, really, because we don't care. I don't even use it, is the funny thing. Like, I don't really care to either, but it seems so ridiculous to me that it's like it's made illegal, because who cares? Right? I mean, who cares what you use? Because it doesn't bother me one bit. And plus, you can make comparisons as well, where you can say that, well, alcohol is legal only because it's a social thing that everyone uses. And I'm sure if it was the same thing with marijuana, it would also be legal if it was a social thing that everyone uses. Fortunately, the day is coming when all of these old people who are in an office will die off, and my generation will be the ruling generation, and everything will be legal, and it will be awesome. Fortunately, that's soon to come. Still, though, we have to deal with old people who are very much disconnected, and it's really, really annoying. Think about it this way, too. In Congress and in the Senate, we have people who are so disconnected that they're not even close to the same generation as their voter base. And now you have people like Lindsey Graham trying to connect with the younger audience, and it's really not working. You have people like Ted Cruz trying to connect to the younger audience, and it's not working. These people are like space aliens, man. I mean, they come down and they're like, I'm just like you. Look how normal I am. And when they have to tell you how normal they are, they're probably not. I mean, Lindsey Graham acts like a Martian. Ted Cruz acts like he's from another planet. Rand Paul acts like he's a little bit off. He acts like he's just a little bit off. And Donald Trump acts like he's sort of a rough approximation of what a human being might be like, or what an American businessman / politician might be like. He's sort of a rough approximation of that. And it kind of shows, and it really alienates the voter base. Like, I'm not going to vote for any of these guys. Why would I? They're ridiculous. They don't stand for anything that I believe in, and so there's no reason for me to vote for them. Same goes for Hillary Clinton. I don't believe in much of anything she ever says, and so there's not really any reason for me to vote for her. She's given me no reason to vote for her, and the Republicans have given me no reason to vote for them either, because I don't believe in really anything that they stand for, so why would I? And so it becomes obvious there's no reason to vote for either one, so why do it at all? And that's what makes a lot of people upset, but it's also true. I mean, the system is completely broken. We have two parties when there are much more than 2 points of view. In fact, there are hundreds and thousands of points of view. So why don't we have a recognized and official party for each one, so that the majority rule can actually be majority rule when it comes to thought? Instead, we have, again, rough approximations of what the majority of people think, and we'll just sort of squeeze that in there when really nothing changes from year to year. We're following trends. So it doesn't matter what party you vote for, because things are going to continue on the same path no matter what, because politicians tend to not really matter anyway. And the president certainly doesn't. The president is one of the least important offices in the country, in fact, when it comes to influence and when it comes to getting things done. But a lot of people, unfortunately, don't really recognize that. This is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. We are very, very connected here at Hot News Talk Radio. In fact, we love being connected here at Hot News Talk Radio. Me, probably more so than anyone else here. I'm very much a fan of the internet. I use it every single day. I can't live without it. It's a necessary part of my daily routine. I check the internet for the news. I check the internet for to do show prep. I just use it every single day. If you want to hook up with me on Twitter, you can. It's at Mechakeller, Mechakeller on Twitter. Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter follows me, so it should be a little bit easy to follow me if you can find me there. I mean, if not, big deal. It's also my personal account, so I tweet really odd things on there. But if you want to follow me, you can. If you see anything very odd or anything interesting going on, you can tweet us at Hot News Talk Radio. and you can share that with us, and we'll be sure to get that out there over the air ASAP. If there's some odd occurrence. Right now we have a correspondent, or I think we still have a correspondent. If the breakfast is over, then we don't. But Tex from Cowboy with Tex attended the conference, or not conference, but the Ted Cruz breakfast thing, the biscuits and whatever it was. So if you see him, say hi. He's probably wearing a cowboy hat. We also have Eric Judd, the Mr. Judd Show, which is on every weekday here from 11 to 12, right before my show here on Hot News Talk Radio. And that's some of the great programming that we have here on Hot News Talk Radio from 9 to 11. We also have Nooganomics.com, the David Tulis Show, right here on Hot News Talk Radio. He talks about local economy and free markets from his very own Nooga-centric position right here, Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com. It's a great place to listen to us.
This is a modern world. This is the modern world. What kind of fool do you think I am? You think I know nothing of
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, this is your computer speaking. I don't feel so well. It's like I've come down with a bug, and I'm getting slower.
Affordable Computers. We fix sick computers. Your hometown guys at Affordable Computers will repair your PC in half the time of the big boys at an affordable price. No tricks, no gimmicks, no computer speak technobabble. Just good, quick, and courteous affordable service and repairs. Want to affordably supercharge your PC? Affordable Computers on Highway 58. Affordable Computers hand builds all desktops in-house. If you're looking for a better-than-new refurb laptop, $150 will get you a Dell or another name brand at Affordable Computers. Affordable Computers, Highway 58, between Arby's and Taco Bell. Also Fort O, Battlefield Parkway, near Holcomb's. Affordable Computers, we service what we sell. Call 499-1975. That's 499-1975.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm feeling great. Supercharged.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
You feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address the indoor air quality at your business to help reduce employee illnesses. Prevent fires by cleaning your dryer vents. Mark and his parents, Dick and Joan Thompson, have been building our local economy and helping local people with HVAC systems 16 years. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals. Call 876-9907. 876-9907. Ducks. Call now.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm David Tulis, inviting you to make the move with me 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. The David Tulis Show, featuring Nooganomics.com for Chattanooga and beyond. 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. David Conley accused in the grisly weekend killing of a Houston family of 8, making his first court appearance today.
Harris County deputies say Conley entered the home through an open window after finding the locks changed at the home where he once lived. A motive for the murder has not yet been released. Conley was denied bond at an initial hearing on Sunday that he did not attend.
Fox Radio's Grinnell Scott. A wildfire scorching land in northern Arizona. Winds picked up over the weekend, forcing evacuation of 700 homes.
Looked like it was moving away and then the wind shifted and it came into the neighborhood.
In California, a big wildfire north of San Francisco is nearly contained, but a new fire several miles southwest doubled in size overnight. Stocks are trading sharply higher, the Dow up about 200 points after a Fed official said the central bank wants to make sure the economy is showing steady gains before nudging up interest rates. Fox News. We report, you decide.
I think some criticism, I should say, is due. Criticism? Why not? I think some criticism is due for actually everybody when it comes to these elections. This is Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. This is Digital Drive as well. I'm your host, Russell, here on Hot News Talk Radio, and we're talking about the elections here. And part of the problem that we have is a lack of connectivity. You see, the election is coming up in 2016, and I'm a young person. I will admit that immediately. I am extremely young, in fact. I am so young that Planned Parenthood doesn't even count me as human. That's how young I am. I am 20 years old. I just turned 20 this year. You may not believe it, but that is actually the case. I'm a youngster. I'm just a youngin. I'm barely I'm embryonic at this point. I may as well not even be a real person. Now, the funny thing is, I've been following elections for years and years and years and years and years, which is weird. I mean, years and years in terms of exponential growth, as in I've been following elections probably for about a majority of my life now, which is very strange to think of. But I've been following these elections and I've been following politicians for a really long time. And something I'm noticing is how really bad they all are. And the reason they're so bad is actually not because they're bad politicians. They're all really good politicians, and that's kind of the problem. And they also have no idea how the youth works. They're not going to make me excited no matter what they do, it seems like. There's no way one of these politicians could ever make me excited about a Make America Great Again or whatever, because that's simply unrealistic anyway. But also, it's kind of hokey, you know? It's kind of old person. There's nothing cool about it. And that's something that needs to be fixed, I guess. I mean, you can't really fix it, is the thing. Now, what we have now is we have an election that's kind of odd. We have so many candidates on the Republican side, and you have maybe 3 on the Democratic side. You have, of course, Bernie Sanders, who's sort of taking the sideline. You have Hillary Clinton, of course, and you have that other guy from, I think, Vermont. And I can never remember his name, which is kind of a problem because that shows right off he's probably not going to win if I can't remember his name. But then again, he may surprise us. Who knows? But probably not. I think it's already been picked who's going to win this election. But as it is now, Hillary Clinton is the most promising candidate. And I'm talking about that clearly and plainly objectively. Hillary Clinton is the most promising candidate, and to deny that is to really deny everything. If you don't think that Hillary Clinton is the most promising candidate, you really just don't know what's going on. She obviously is, and I'm not rooting for her by any means, but when it comes to electability, she is obviously the most there. She's making waves. She's making people excited. She's actually getting stuff done in terms of interviews and such, and she's made a presence more than anyone, and that's vitally important. She has made a presence. The only competitor really on the Republican side is, of course, Donald Trump, who's made a very big presence. But his presence is rather off-putting. He's kind of nuts, and a lot of people see him as kind of nuts. He's also kind of a joke on the internet, which really doesn't help his campaign. He tweets really ridiculous stuff. He's kind of like a parody of an American politician, and he's like a caricature of an American politician, and that doesn't really work in his favor. Now, people are going to be jumping on that, saying, oh, Donald Trump, though, he's the best. Look at how great he is. No, really, he's kind of making an ass of himself, and he does it consistently, and it's not helping his cause at all. And I think that's somewhat intentional. That's where things get interesting. I don't think Donald Trump really cares who wins because, again, he's donated tons of money to like every candidate. So I don't really think he really cares who wins. In fact, I have an interesting theory. I think it's interesting anyway, that Donald Trump actually wants Hillary Clinton to win, which would be very interesting. He may be He may just be the person to separate the Republican Party enough to make the Republican Party like even more unelectable, which I didn't think was even possible, but he somehow managed to act as sort of the Mitt Romney for the Republican Party, to be so outrageous that no one would vote for him so that it secures a Democratic win. Because really, that's kind of what's probably going to happen, although it's way too early to make predictions. Again, something crazy could happen that's going to change everything, and I will eat my shoe, just like Werner Herzog. But anyway, it's interesting to see, because the main point that I'm trying to get at is all of the candidates are vastly disconnected. I mean, wildly disconnected. The thing is, the only politician who I'm seeing right now on either side who's really making any sort of waves on the internet is Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul. And Donald Trump to some degree, but mostly it's just images on Facebook being shared by old Republicans who nobody cares about anyway. So that's really the most that we're seeing out of Donald Trump is, again, people sharing images on Facebook. Bernie Sanders, though, you're seeing a lot of pictures being shared about him on Facebook that are very positive. Donald Trump, not so much. Rand Paul has been very tech savvy in his campaign early on. He sold anti-NSA stuff on his website, which was really funny. His campaign was actually kind of funny. He had a sense of humor, and it was good. It wasn't bad. He sold flash drives and stuff. And again, I'm not rooting for him by any means. I don't think he's the best option. Well, okay, I think he's the best option out of all of them, but I wouldn't vote for him anyway. And I certainly probably wouldn't vote for much of anyone, is the thing. Because none of them represent me in a way that I'm satisfied with, because none of them is for a small enough government. That's the problem. And people say, oh, baby steps, baby steps. But I also don't think that electing anyone is going to fix the problem. People are delusioned into thinking that the process works, which it doesn't. And even people who are not delusioned into thinking the process works will still take part in the process, which doesn't make any sense to me. And people say, well, I know elections don't really matter, but I vote anyway. And it's why? I don't think elections matter at all. Because who cares anyway who's president, because it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. And it just doesn't make any difference whatsoever who's the president. You cannot convince people of that, but it's true. Think about it. From Clinton to Bush, did things really change that much politically? No, not really. Now, 9/11 changed a lot, but would things have changed that much, that drastically, had, say, 9/11 not happened? I really don't think so. Would things be that different from, say, if we had Al Gore as a president as opposed to George Bush? And I really don't think so. And it doesn't seem like things would change that much, because there's so little difference between the two parties that they're almost indistinguishable, aside from very, very few differences. Republicans and Democrats are almost like they're functionally identical. It's just that Democrats tend to have a somewhat younger audience than Republicans do, and young Republicans are actually kind of funny and very nerdy, and young Democrats tend to be hipsters. So there's a difference there too, where young Republicans are very uncool and young Democrats tend to be the hip cool guys. So it's interesting how that works too. And again, I'm not by any means either one. I don't like Democrats, and I really don't like Republicans, because I think Republicans are more deceptive than anything. Republicans will make you think that there's going to be a conservative change when in actuality there's not. It very much annoys me. So you might be asking, what am I? Who are you, Russell? What political class do you fall into? Who do you identify as? Well, I don't really identify with much of any political ideology, aside from a few. You might say that I'm a bit of an anarcho-capitalist, although that would be kind of a stretch, because not always. You might say that I'm a minarchist, which that's more accurate. You might also say that I'm a classical liberal. So we could stick with that one. We'll just say classical liberal because it sounds cooler than the other ones anyway, although anarcho-capitalist is very cool, and I like the symbolism of anarcho-capitalism, and it would probably get the right change going anyway. So I'm of the ideology that I want to be left alone. I don't want people interfering with my business. I don't want people interfering with my private life, which neither party is going to give you. That's the problem. Most people just want to be left alone. And unfortunately, neither party is going to get that done for you. It's say you want to vote Democrat and you want to be left alone. Well, universal health care certainly is not going to leave you alone. Okay, say you vote Republican and you want to be left alone. Well, unfortunately, the war on drugs certainly is not going to be leaving you alone. Unless you don't do drugs. But why not? Why don't you? They're so much fun. So really, you're not going to be left alone by any party. And there are so many apologists for that concept, and it drives me crazy because people will say, well, there needs to be enforcement of this law and this law and this law and this law. my position is far different from that, though, because I don't think that there should be enforcement. I think there should be less enforcement of pretty much everything, but I also think that there should be no laws in a lot of regards. You might call me a constitutionalist and be somewhat correct as well. Going back to the basics would probably be the best option, although a highly unrealistic and highly idealized option would be going back to the Constitution. But that is simply not going to be happening, unfortunately. So that's the simple truth of the matter, is going back to the Constitution is an extremely unrealistic goal. It's simply not going to happen anytime soon. So when it comes to the political elections or the presidential elections, which are coming up in 2016, who's going to win? The answer is it doesn't matter, because who cares? Things are going to continue moving on the same track that they have been for the last 200 or so years, and nothing's going to change. In fact, things are only going to change for the worse, no matter who's elected in. The only hope we have is complete collapse so that we can rebuild. That's the only hope there is for us now. American decline is unstoppable, and American decline is inevitable, and the collapse of the system is inevitable as well, and that's okay, because that means there's a chance to rebuild. That means there's a chance to be left alone for once by the government. There's a chance for us to not even have a centralized government, which is, of course, for our benefit. But that's just me. The DMCA, according to Ars Technica, has been a little bit crazy about the word pixels. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. You can download the TuneIn Radio app, and you can search for us on there with Hot News Talk Radio. Just punch that into the TuneIn Radio app, and you'll find us. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. You can also save half off right now if you go to hotnewstalkradio.com and click on the half off link for great deals. Hot News Talk Radio is saving you money. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Arsenica says that the internet really didn't need another reason to hate July's critically panned Columbia Pictures film Pixels, which is yet another example of business, or big business, being totally disconnected from its youth. But it got one in form of a sketchy DMCA takedown. One more reason to hate Pixels. The request comes from a copyright troll, and it's directed at a number of videos hosted on Vimeo, which of course is a somewhat popular video streaming site, which is, of course, totally above board. Vimeo is totally above board. There's no problems at all with Vimeo in terms of legality. It's very popular with filmmakers. I like Vimeo a lot. Torrent Freak got the scoop on Saturday by discovering a successful takedown request filed by Intura International, which is an anti-piracy organization acting on Columbia Pictures' behalf, which, of course, Columbia Pictures is the sub-company of Sony Pictures, which put out Pixels, filed by Intura International. So Intura targeted films that had nothing at all to do with the Adam Sandler film, with the exception of having the word pixels in their titles. Now, pixels, of course, is not a very narrow concept. I mean, a pixel is just it's a dot of light on your screen, which a cluster of which will represent a full image. So pixels it's pixels. You know, it's a technological thing. It's a technical thing. It's not a patented concept. It's not a copyrighted concept. A pixel is simply a pixel any more than a car tire is patented or copyrighted in some way. Car tires are car tires, and that is it. So if your film is called Car Tires, you can't really take down every video that has to do with car tire repair or anything like that. Unfortunately, that's what the folks over at Intura International are trying to do with anything that has the word pixels in its title. Yeah, Intura targeted films that had nothing at all to do with the Adam Sandler film, with the exception of having the word pixels in the title. One of those takedowns hit a 2006 short film called Pixels, which far predates the movie Pixels, which just came out. In fact, in 2006, I think it even predated the screenplay for the movie Pixels. So whoever made that short film called Pixels could actually claim precedence or claim almost an eminent domain over the word pixels in the title of a motion picture, and might even be able to have some sort of claim against the major motion picture called Pixels. Its creators, the filmmaking group Nemi, or Nemi, I'm not sure, took to Vimeo's support forums to express their disdain at the takedown of their film. They noted that the DMCA takedown request counted as a strike one, in spite of allegedly not violating any of Columbia Pictures' copyrights. After all, their short film called Pixels far predates the new film called Pixels by nearly 10 years. So they did not violate any of Columbia Pictures' copyrights by any means, but it also forced the short film's creators to provide an assortment of statements about it as to why it should not be taken down. Most of the other films noted in the chilling effects report had nothing to do with the Sandler film, with the ironic exception of a trailer for the film in question that was taken down, even though it was posted by Columbia Pictures on YouTube. Very odd. Additionally, Torrent Freak reported that the film source material, a 2-minute CGI film in which video game icons came to life, had received a takedown. As of press time on Ars Technica, that video has now been restored to Vimeo. Vimeo's forum moderators encouraged Nimi and other affected filmmakers to file a counter DMCA notice, but as of now, most affected films remain down due to an apparent automatic compliance with DMCA requests. DMCA, by the way, is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and it's an act that was passed in I want to say 99 or 2000, after all, millennium, and it was a attempt to enforce copyright law in the new millennium, and it's very, very oppressive in a lot of ways. It can lead to takedowns of videos that are totally unrelated to whatever copyright you may own, and it's really, really annoying. Really, really annoying that this keeps happening, because we keep seeing videos getting taken down that have nothing at all to do with infringement of someone else's intellectual property. And unfortunately, a lot of these companies are pressured into taking down videos that, again, have nothing at all to do with any sort of infringement of anyone else's property. It's very unfortunate that this keeps happening, but again, it keeps happening, and there's not really any unified movement to stop it. Other than the Electronic Frontier Foundation, sometimes the ACLU will do something about it, but overall, we're not really seeing any sort of unified front in like Congress to get the DMCA repealed, because too many people are making too much money off of it. Unfortunately, copyright litigation is extremely profitable if you win. So we're probably not going to see any shortage of DMCA takedown requests in the coming years, and in recent years as well, unfortunately. A fourth blogger in Bangladesh has been killed. Yeah, the Bangladesh branch of Al-Qaeda is claiming responsibility for Friday's murder of a secular blogger in the city of Dhaka, which is the fourth blogger in Bangladesh to be slaughtered with machetes this year alone. According to the monitoring site, Al-Qaeda, or rather monitoring group called SITE, S-I-T-E, Al-Qaeda, the Indian subcontinent, or IQIS, branch called Ansar al-Islam, warned of more murders of bloggers to come in the Muslim-majority country of Bangladesh. And in a communique issued in Bengali and English and posted on his Facebook and Twitter accounts on August 7, 2015, Ansar al-Islam declared the attack to be vengeance for the honor of the Prophet Muhammad, and vowed similar operations in the future of its enemies. And the group threatened, if your freedom of speech maintains no limits, then widen your chests for freedom of machetes. Wow, that's a very well-worded bit of prose. In other words, death threat. The death of 40-year-old Niloy Chakrabarti, I believe is how you say, who uses the name Niloy Neil in writing, sparked protests Friday in Dhaka, according to local press reports. As many as 6 men armed with machetes apparently broke into his apartment and then hacked him to death. The journalist had contributed to the humanist blogging platform Mukto Mana, and his posts often were critical of Islam, which of course you're free to be critical of, just as you're free to be critical of Christianity or Buddhism or any other religion you so choose to be critical of. Mukto Mana was established by another blogger, Avijit Roy, who was also murdered in Bangladesh in February of this year. Rights groups have, of course, condemned all the bloggers' murders. This spate of savage killings must end here, says a statement. There is little doubt that these especially brutal killings are designed to sow fear and to have a chilling effect on free speech. This is unacceptable, says David Griffiths, South Asia research director at Amnesty International. The Committee to Protect Journalists urged Bangladeshi authorities to take action, saying, how many more bloggers must be murdered before this government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina acts decisively to stem the violence and impunity, the group asked. So you would say, and you would be accurate, that these are people who died protecting free speech, honestly, because to post something provocative is really to exemplify free speech. You're posting something provocative, you're posting something offensive, and you're free to do so. And unfortunately, there are people who will get very angry with you, and will kill you because you have an offending opinion, or you have a view which is unpopular, and that, of course, should not be. And there are people who have died for that right. And this is one person who has done just that. he died posting, and he died posting very critical things of Islam, and he was free to do that. Now, they might say, oh, you're not free to do that in this country or what have you, but no, these rights transcend whatever laws your country may have. And unfortunately, he was murdered for this cause of free speech. Overseas reports said that his most recent writings had condemned the killing of 3 fellow bloggers, supported women and minority rights, and criticized the maltreatment of Hindus in the South Asian nation of 160 million people. Now, these are things that you really can't argue with, right? I mean, everyone supports minority rights, of course. Everyone supports women's rights to a degree, of course. And everyone is certainly critical of the maltreatment of Hindus in the South Asian nation of 160 million people. So not really anyone can disagree with much of anything he says, but apparently that is cause for his death. He posted to Facebook in May the 15th saying that he was being followed after protesting the death of another blogger. According to the AFP, he said that the police declined to investigate the complaint and instead told him to leave Bangladesh. The Committee to Protect Journalists said Chakrabarty's name appeared on a widely circulated list calling for the deaths of 854 bloggers perceived to be atheists. Wow. The committee said that 17 journalists in Bangladesh have been murdered since 1992 when the committee began keeping records. Most of the cases have not been resolved, the committee said. Now, you'll pardon me if I use this to make a bit of a political point, but it is a point in his favor. The argument, of course, that I'm going to make is it doesn't matter what the laws of your country are. You always have very fundamental rights, which are granted from God. And those rights are, of course, freedom of speech is one. These are rights that are enumerated or recognized in the Constitution, but your rights do not come from the Constitution. And that's something that has to be made very apparent, something that has to be made very clear. Rights do not come from the Constitution, because the Constitution had to have come from somewhere, right? Meaning that the rights come from a higher power. The Constitution could be repealed here in the United States tomorrow. Does that mean that you no longer have any rights? No, not really. Of course it doesn't. The rights don't come from the Constitution. The rights are simply recognized by the Constitution, but you still have them. And that goes for a country where perhaps their constitution specifically and explicitly says you may not post anything that would offend a Muslim, or you may not post anything that would offend an Orthodox Christian, or what have you. You still have a right to do so, regardless of what the law may say. Because if a law infringes on your rights, then the law is not very valid now, is it? Now, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to convince people of that, because people become very nationalistic in their viewpoints. People will say, oh, no, your rights come from the Constitution, or your rights come from soldiers, or something like that. But no, that's not true. Your rights come from God, and that is that. There's no really denying that. I mean, you can try, but you'd be wrong. Your rights come from God. Your rights do not come from the Constitution. Your rights don't come from any sort of military action or aggression against another person. Your rights come from God and can't be taken from you. They can only be not recognized. You can only cease to recognize someone's rights. You can't actually take them away. And that's something that drives me crazy too, is you see people posting on Facebook, they're trying to take away our right to do such and such. They can't take away your right to do something. They can persecute you for you exercising your right to do something, but they cannot take away your right to do anything. And that's something that has to be very clearly understood. Otherwise, we'll think that we don't have our rights. And so, in a sense, we don't if we don't think we do, because we'll never exercise them. This is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. We are everywhere. Listen live to Hot News Talk Radio at hotnewstalkradio.com. Download the TuneIn Radio app and search for Hot News Talk Radio. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter, where you report, the world decides. That's AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. I am on Twitter at Mecca Keller. Search for me there, MECHAKELLER, Mecca Keller on Twitter. Hot News Talk Radio is also on Twitter. Just search for Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. It'll pop up. You can tweet at us with any news events you may have, any comments you might have. Number to call in, of course, is 423-800-8949 here at Hot News Talk Radio. And you should definitely get us on the TuneIn Radio app, because you can get us on the TuneIn Radio app and then connect to your Bluetooth speaker, say you're in your car, and you can listen to us like you're in the studio with us here in CD quality audio right here at Hot News Talk Radio.
This is a mob mode. This is the mob mode. What kind of fool do you think I am? To think I know nothing about
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Here you are, working to keep your customers happy and to manage your cash flow. IRS problems are the last thing you need, but here they are, flapping about you like vultures. Get help from Eric Pelton and his team of accountants at E.J. Pelton Company. Audits, letters, proposed return changes, 1099s, penalty threats. Pelton Tax Resolution Services brings peace of mind and helps you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices on Brainerd Road and in Saudi Daisy, just north of the Bilo. That's EJ Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead. 622-3156.
Arnie Guest Goldsmith, Chattanooga's gold standard in quality, selection, and beautifully handcrafted jewelry. Arnie Guest Goldsmith has 7 jewelers on site and ready to assist you in the design of your one-of-a-kind diamond piece. Arnie Guest Goldsmith, Chattanooga's gold standard in quality, selection, and beautifully handcrafted jewelry. Arnie Guest Goldsmith has 7 jewelers on site and ready to assist you in the design of your one-of-a-kind diamond piece to the perfect affordable handcrafted gem. From just $20 silver earrings to your dream elegant work of art to adorn your finger, neck, and wrist, impressing your friends and family, Arnie Guest Goldsmith will ensure that your budget is met. Planning the perfect wedding or a special event? Then let Arnie Guest Goldsmith assist you in choosing or designing the keepsake that will last you a lifetime. All of Arnie Guest Goldsmith repairs and crafting are done in-house, so you can be rest assured that it will meet or exceed your expectations. For over 30 years, Arnie Guest Goldsmith has served Chattanooga with the finest jewelry and services, meaning only the highest quality and standards. So the next time you think of jewelry, custom design, remounting, appraisals, or repairs, remember Arnie Guest Goldsmith. And please visit Arnie Guest Goldsmith at 5090 Adams Road, Hickson. That's 5090 Adams Road, Hickson. Call 875-2390. That's 875-2390. Or go to jewelryfromscratch.com. That's all one word, jewelryfromscratch.com. Jewelryfromscratch.com. Arnie Guest Goldsmith of Chattanooga.
Surgery does not have to be financially painful. Hi, I'm Surgical Dr. David Red, and I'd like to invite you to my walk-in surgery clinic in North Shore. Quick Surge brings you immediate relief from moles, skin tags, maybe a laceration. Quick Surge. You walk in, fill out a mini form, I numb the area I'll treat, and before you know it, you're on your way home. Do I take insurance? No, because I take cash customers. I have super low and fixed prices, credit card, check, or cash. Uninsured, member of the working financially disadvantaged, choose Quick Surge. I publish prices online. No murk, just sunshine. Hassle-free, pain-free. Love the idea of a personal relationship with a doctor? Drop in with nasty cut from work. Quick Surge, I'll take care of you. Quick Surge in the Public Center on the North Shore. No insurance hassles with Quick Surge. The national medical system is dysfunctional, overpriced, very alienating. I'm part of the solution, and so are you. Come on home. QuickSurge.com. QuickSurg. Relief.
If you have the DTs, the shakes, because your phone is on the fritz, you have nomophobia. You need help. Your telecom doctor is in. Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall. Cell Surgeon yanks open the ribcage of your phone, pries out the dead heart, and puts in the beating life that you lead on your cell phone. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out? Cell Surgeon at Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and get 10% off.
You do not have to be living with constant pain. You need to make the choice today to enjoy a revitalized body. You deserve to live a better pain-free life. And Dr. Ross can help. At Ross Chiropractic, failure is not an option. For over 40 years, Dr. Ross, a graduate of the prestigious Palmer College of Chiropractic, prided himself in helping and healing. The Ross method of chiropractic care is unique in developing a treatment designed just for you. And Ross Chiropractic makes this promise to you. If he believes that he can't help relieve your pain, he will guide you to another health practitioner to assist you. Feel better now. You owe it to yourself. You really do. Call Dr. Ross now at 954-9591. That's 954-9591. And visit Dr. Ross at 7405 Shallowford Road, Suite 320. Ross Chiropractic, helping your body heal itself. Because when your spine's in line, you will feel fine. Call 954-9591. That's 954-9591 for Ross Chiropractic.
When my brother and I opened the first Jets Pizza, we believed if we made the best pizza, customers would find us. So we made fresh dough each day, used fresh toppings, and premium mozzarella cheese. 300-plus stores later, we still do.
Try Jet's famous 8-corner pizza with premium mozzarella cheese and one topping, now just $11.99 for a limited time only. Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets. If the South would have won, we'd have had it
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
CBS News, I'm Steve Kaif, and new protests today will test police in Ferguson, Missouri. A day after gunfire marked the end of a demonstration tied to the first anniversary of the Michael Brown shooting. Attorney General Loretta Lynch spoke about it at a conference in Pittsburgh.
Not only does violence obscure any message of peaceful protest, it places the community as well as the officers who are seeking to protect it in harm's way.
Police say they were fired on. An 18-year-old is in critical condition. County Police Chief John Belmar says others fired shots too.
If you know who these people are, if you can help the police, if you have video of this and you can give it to the police department to assist us, we would love to have that.
He says those who did fire are criminals, not protesters. In a Houston court, no bail for a man accused of murdering 8 people inside a home. Prosecutor Alicia Harvey accuses David Conley of entering the home of a woman he used to date.
The defendant made entry through a window to the residence belonging to Valerie Jackson. She was also found dead inside. He's been charged with capital murder.
Conley is accused of killing Jackson, his son, and 6 others. A 20-year-old New Jersey man's been arrested on charges that he conspired to help ISIS. The suspect's older brother had been arrested just weeks ago. CBS's Paula Reed at the Justice Department.
According to court documents, Nader Sadeh believed the murders of several staff members at the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo in Paris were justified, and he was allegedly researching ways to travel abroad to join up with ISIS. He faces 20 years in prison if convicted.
U.S. aircraft on the way to Turkey, part of that new deal to cooperate against ISIS.
The U.S. military sent 6 F-16s and 300 personnel to Incirlik in Turkey.
The primary strategic benefit of this is that it gives us greater proximity to the targets that we need to strike against ISIL.
In both Iraq and Syria, according to Pentagon spokesman Captain Jeff Davis. In addition, the Pentagon's considering sending in a personnel recovery team to Turkey. They are already stationed throughout the region to rescue a downed pilot if necessary. Cammie McCormick, CBS News, the Pentagon.
The Coast Guard says cocaine seizures off the Pacific coast of Latin America have hit a 5-year high. Coast Guard Admiral Paul Zukuntz showed off some of the haul today in San Diego.
Every one of these bricks of cocaine is destined for the United States. 400 metric tons is consumed in our country each year.
He says nearly $2 billion worth of the drugs been rounded up over the past 10 months. 2 Russian cosmonauts are in the midst of a planned 6.5-hour spacewalk.
Yeah, already pre-triggered the ring.
They're cleaning windows and installing some new equipment on the space station. Wall Street, the Dow is up 222 points. This is CBS News.
2 little tablets is all it takes to make your thin hair feel and look thicker and fuller, guaranteed. Viviscal is the #1 drug-free hair growth supplement in the U.S., with 1 box being sold every minute globally. It's clinically researched to promote existing hair growth for men and women, and now a 90-day supply of Viviscal is offered in your area risk-free plus free shipping. Call 800-806-7280. Viviscal nourishes thinning hair from within. You'll love your hair growth results, guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by top doctors. Here's Dr. Grant Stevens, board-certified plastic surgeon.
I feel confident recommending Viviscal to women with hair loss, thinning hair, or even dry or brittle hair. It's 100% drug-free, and it's backed by years of clinical research.
Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls now gets a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call now, 800-806-7280. 800-806-7280. That's 800-806-7280.
The government's looking into new drone sightings near a major airport. Here's CBS's Frank Sedapani.
The FAA says the crews of 4 commercial flights approaching Newark Liberty International Airport reported seeing the drone. Live ATC recorded this cockpit-to-tower conversation.
We just saw the drone at 3,000, here's 16.5 DME. Conference 5837, you saw the drone, what altitude is that? 3,000 feet, it was probably about 400 off our left wing.
The FAA says it's received a significant increase in reports of drones flying perilously close to planes. One expert says it's not a matter of whether a drone will hit a plane, only when. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
Buddy Baker, one of NASCAR's greatest drivers, has died of cancer at 74. At 6'6", Baker got the nickname Gentle Giant during his 3 decades on the track. He won the 1980 Daytona 500 and 10 years earlier was the first driver to top 200 miles an hour on a closed course. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance?
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Trade Bank. Call now to get access to nearly 400 local businesses. Trade Bank. Call 877-2202. 877-2202. Trade Bank. You want to increase your cash flow, your competitive edge, attract new customers, and build a loyal customer base. You need Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call right now, 877-2202. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, tradebank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want with our wide variety of Trade Bank partners. For almost 30 years, Trade Bank has been your voice for small business, a member of the American Bankers Association, and in good standing with you. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation, 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
Hi, I'm David Tulis, inviting you to make the move with me 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. The David Tulis Show, featuring Nooganomics.com for Chattanooga and beyond. 9 to 11 a.m. weekdays.
Hot News Talk 1240.
The duck of the day.
In 1993, you co-sponsored a bill in Congress that would take away the birthright citizenship. In 2010, when you were running for governor, you reiterated your longtime support for ending birthright citizenship. Is that still your position?
No, let me tell you what I think we ought to do with immigration. First of all, we ought to finish the fence. And even if special interests don't want it done, we should get it done.
Okay, wait. Okay, so the governor of the great state of Ohio, John Kasich, who I think he's had a couple of pretty good weeks. I mean, I know it when I tweet out, keep an eye on John Kasich, all of you don't have to go crazy. Like, you're supporting Kasich. Kasich's a squish on some issues. Laura, how are you? Guys, I'm analyzing what's going on. Just like when I said Jeb Bush won the debate. You're promoting Jeb Bush. Oh, my gosh. I was screaming, laughing yesterday coming back for Fox News Sunday. So I'm reading these tweets from people. You're a squish. You're supporting Jeb after all this. I'm like, guys, take a breath. Let it out. Take a breath. Let it out. No. What I'm saying is there's going to be a race for the establishment slot. You know, the one establishment slot in the race. You know, the person who's going to get most of the money. Right now it's Jeb and probably will continue to be Jeb. But I think what you saw at the debate was John Kasich wants to also be considered in that establishment group of, 3 or 4. And so I said, keep an eye on him. But it doesn't mean that I think John Kasich should be the nominee. There's some things about Kasich I like. There are some things I don't like. I like the fact that he comes on the show. I like the fact that he makes the case to you. I like the fact that he doesn't avoid conservatives, that he's actually tangled with Democrats and come out on top on big issues like the budget fight, et cetera, et cetera. So lots of things I like, not all things I like. But on this issue, he and I part ways severely.
I appreciate that. Would ending birthright citizenship be part of this larger immigration approach?
No, I don't think we need to go there. I think what I've outlined here is what we need to be doing.
Well, no, he actually answered the question. He didn't duck that one. He answered the question. He's like, no. He's not going to do it. So he's not going to do birthright citizenship reform, which, by the way, would not take a constitutional amendment. Coulter will be on in a few moments. Ann Coulter, she and I have talked about this I don't know how many times. I guess we can talk about it again. You don't need a constitutional amendment to get rid of birthright citizenship in the United States because it is not required in the Constitution. Okay, the citizenship clause of the Constitution was never intended to mean that anyone who stepped foot illegally into the United States was going to become a citizen. It was mostly geared toward the slaves that were living here at the time, and that we were going to have a new birth of freedom for those people who were brought here against their will. Okay, so that's what it was geared toward. It was not geared toward this, and I just want to be very clear on that. So we'll talk more about that. But is that a deal breaker for you with Kasich, John Kasich? Is the issue of birthright citizenship and the support for continuing that? We've talked to you so often on this show about the birth tourism that takes place in this country, where we have these Chinese tourists who come into Long Beach, California, and they go to these sleazy hotels and motels, and they come at 8 months pregnant, and then they have their kid, and then they go get their passport for the kid. Then many times they fly back to China, but they get that gold ticket in their hands. Same thing with mothers from Central America, South America, Mexico, who come here in their third trimester. They have kids, or they just come here and have kids as legals. And then people say, you can't split up families. That's horrible. You got to keep the families together, which, as many people have said, including myself, well, yeah, unify back in your home country. It's not our fault that you decided to violate our laws and have children here. It's your fault. So, we understand why you wanted to come here, but we have laws, and our laws have to be respected, and we need to focus on the American people. So does the issue of birthright citizenship bother you so much that it would kill any thought of supporting someone like a John Kasich? 855-40-LAURA. Donald Trump continues to be on top. A new NBC poll just released has Trump at 23%. He has not suffered one bit. In fact, it looks like he's gained some support nationally after that Fox News debate. Does that surprise you? Are you less likely to support Donald Trump after his late night Twitter war? It was kind of a one-sided Twitter war with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly wasn't responding. But does that, number one, did that surprise you coming from Trump? And does that change your views of Trump, whether you liked him or not? 855-40-LAURA. I want to throw that on the table because I know a lot of you have been wanting to get in on the Trump discussion. Meanwhile, in the world of facts, the Department of Homeland Security has to admit that a new surge of illegal families is underway in the United States of America. The federal government is declining to detain also an illegal that is charged with rape and murder of a California woman. So first, the DHS is reporting that the border crossings in July 24th, this Judge Dolly Gee is a judge out in California. She basically said that we can't keep detaining these families here illegally because the conditions are substandard. So I guess we need to get a beauty parlor, and we got to get a workout facility, and we got to get a lot of other things at this detention center for this judge to be happy. And by the way, I believe she's an Obama. Yeah, she's an Obama appointee. But it looks like, as far as we can tell, the numbers on the border are increasing. A new piece in the Washington Times by Stephen Dinan. Deputy Border Patrol Chief Ronald Vitiello said that the number of illegal immigrant families captured at the border rose in July, bucking a trend and worrying officials who had been expecting that the number of families coming across would drop as the heat increases in late summer, just as the number of unaccompanied minors has done in the past. Even worse, the administration fears things are going to get worse if illegal immigrants hear about Judge Dolly Gee's July 24th ruling, all but prohibiting detention of illegal immigrant families.
One of those American values is respect for the sanctity of the family unit.
Yeah, well, we know this. We know that Jeb Bush and many others believe that it is our moral duty to allow anyone to come into the country who comes across the border, except maybe people who we absolutely know are violent criminals or terrorists, that anyone who comes into the country who walks his or her way across dangerous terrain or is smuggled in through coyotes and puts his or her life in danger, anyone who tries and succeeds in coming to this country, we have a moral obligation as Christians to allow them to stay. I believe Paul Ryan believes that. I believe that Marco Rubio believes that. I believe that Jeb Bush certainly believes that. I believe that a lot of the Bush folks like Pete Wehner and Michael Gerson and others believe that. And that's fine. That's not an argument that I'm going to, argue with. I mean, I believe we first and foremost have an obligation as people who are, analyzing politics, that our politicians focus on Americans first, and then, we figure out how to make Americans' lives better, and then I guess we can do a lot of other things for a lot of other people. But if we're not going to have laws that actually mean anything right now, then I think that puts everybody's lives in danger and puts everybody's economic standing in jeopardy as well. So
we're literally in trying to move to the 21st century with an immigration system that makes sense.
But it's not just modernizing the immigration system. For Jeb, and we have the sound bites to back it up, it's a moral obligation. It is our moral and Christian duty to bring not to bring the people, but to allow people to stay here who are here, and also probably to make it easier for anyone who wants to come here. And he calls it economic immigrant when he focuses on the business aspect. But I just think for a lot of people, it is the Christian thing to do. And that includes a lot of evangelical Christians, a lot of Catholics. And okay, I guess we can take that to the American people, but I think we've seen, at least in the Republican Party, that view has been rejected time and again. But it's a hill a lot of people are going to die on. They believe it's worth dying on, and anyone who disagrees with them is a horrible person, or anyone who disagrees with them hates immigrants, or doesn't like Latino people, or is xenophobic, and that's just where this debate goes every single time. So
if you want to work and you come to our country, I think we can find a place for you.
Yeah, well, Rand Paul has more of a libertarian view on these issues. On the economic front, because governments shouldn't put barriers to capital moving or people moving in place. But the people I'm talking about, I'll repeat, are Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, folks like Paul Ryan, maybe John Kasich, and others who believe it is our Christian duty to keep families together, not deport people, allow more people to come in. That's what they believe.
You're not going to deport 11 million people.
So that's where we are on that issue. And John Kasich, I think today, is kind of reflecting that in his comments about birthright citizenship. But when DHS is essentially admitting that this so-called lockdown at the border is not working, or it isn't even real, I think just plays into Donald Trump's hands. So anyone who wants to talk truth about illegal immigration, I think, is going to get a hearing. And the people are going to listen to them. I see even in places like Northern Virginia, Sterling, Virginia, Arlington, Tyson's Corner. Boy, the landscape is without a doubt changed. Washington, D.C., landscape changed. Columbia Heights, Maryland, the landscape has changed. What was predominantly a white working class area, and sure, there was an immigrant population, but it was a legal immigrant population of Cubans and others from Mexico who had legally immigrated from their countries back in the 80s, early 80s, and even the 70s. Now it is a population from Ethiopia and from parts in Africa, from South America, many of whom have come into the country illegally, who've just camped out here. And they're working in construction. They're working, as we see in California, they're being elected to government boards. They're sending their children to public schools. Public schools have been transformed in Northern Virginia. It is a predominant Latino public school population in certain communities in Virginia. And a lot of people, Ann Coulter is one of them, is predicting that it's going to change Virginia politics permanently. And Virginia will become ultimately a blue state, liberal state. Texas could be happening there, not now, but fast forward 15 years from now at this pace of immigration. And if someone like a Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio gets in there, legalizes these people, they start voting, I just don't see the argument that they're going to be voting for free market Adam Smith economics. I just don't see that argument at all. And that's not been borne out in California, that's for sure. Let's go to Steve, Houston, Texas.
Hot News Talk
A lot of
Radio.
folks like John Kasich. A lot of people think he's a practical guy and he's a smart guy and he speaks well and he has real experience. But the birthright citizenship comments, a lot of folks are emailing me about them today. Steve.
Yeah, opposed to 100%. That would be the first thing I would want the president to do, to rescind that and to make it retroactive for 25 years. Because it's a scam and it needs to stop.
Steve, I was thinking about how the establishment could make nice. I mean, really make nice, not just in words, but in deeds. I think one thing they could do to offer conservatives a fig leaf is to offer their support on that issue, revoking the birthright citizenship policy in this country. And, I think people would take the promise of enforcement a lot more seriously if indeed they took a step toward the grassroots on that issue. I think that, for me, that would make a lot of practical sense for people like Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio. Who knows? Anything can happen. You don't know. But Kasich, I think, maybe wasn't ready for that question. I don't know. But I think that's a way to win over a lot of folks. And instead, I think you're repelling a lot of people. All right, we're going to open up the lines, 855-40-LAURA. Trump continues to soar in these polls, up at 23%. Ted Cruz is the next closest at about 12-13%. And then Carly and Marco at 8%. But Trump is up double digits still after this debate and after this fight with Megyn Kelly. 855-40-LAURA. Your reaction to that? And the surge continues at the border. Trump's going up and the surge at the illegals are going up. What does that tell you? Don't go away.
Mama, Mexico. I don't understand those who say we are not enforcing the law. We are enforcing the law every day.
The man charged with that crime is an illegal immigrant.
The Laura Ingraham Show.
Mama, marry me, my senorita. Was it so long?
What puts your identity at risk? Did you swipe your debit card at the gas station? Identity thieves can place skimming devices on the payment terminals. Do you use public Wi-Fi? Identity thieves are known to set up shop around Wi-Fi hotspots, hoping to cash in on your personal information. Do any online banking? Go to the doctor? LifeLock reminds us that banks and health insurers are susceptible to breaches of your private information. But don't stop living your life. Get LifeLock Ultimate Plus Identity Theft Protection. LifeLock Ultimate Plus helps protect your social security number, bank and retirement accounts, credit cards, even the equity in your home. Obviously, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor transactions at every business. But you only have one identity. Protect it with the best. Enroll with LifeLock in minutes, and your protection starts immediately. Visit LifeLock.com now and use promo code LAURA or call and mention Laura to save 10% on your membership. Call 800-495-8020. 800-495-8020. 800-495-8020.
Breathe it in, kid. Every 3 months, we install these air handler filters. They're more energy efficient, hold more dust, and are priced to save us more money. And Grainger's got close to 3,000 different styles and sizes to choose from, in stock and ready when we need them. I love oxygen, kid. And this facility's got some great AO2. I'm breathing easier just thinking about these air handler filters. Get some today. Get it? Got it? Good. Call clickgrainger.com/filters or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Get a free Razor cell phone delivered free to your door. Don't want a free Razor? Then go to letstalk13.com and choose from hundreds of other free phones.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. When my brother and I opened the first Jets Pizza, we believed if we made the best pizza, customers would find us. So we made fresh dough each day, used fresh toppings, and premium mozzarella cheese. 300-plus stores later, we still do.
Try Jet's famous 8-corner pizza with premium mozzarella cheese and one topping, now just $11.99 for a limited time only. Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection, loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
Arnie Guest Goldsmith, Chattanooga's gold standard in quality, selection, and beautifully handcrafted jewelry. Arnie Guest Goldsmith has 7 jewelers on site and ready to assist you in the design of your one-of-a-kind diamond piece. Arnie Guest Goldsmith, Chattanooga's gold standard in quality, selection, and beautifully handcrafted jewelry. Arnie Guest Goldsmith has 7 jewelers on site and ready to assist you in the design of your one-of-a-kind diamond piece to the perfect affordable handcrafted gem. From just $20 silver earrings to your dream elegant work of art to adorn your finger, neck, and wrist, impressing your friends and family, Arnie Guest Goldsmith will ensure that your budget is met. Planning the perfect wedding or a special event? Then let Arnie Guest Goldsmith assist you in choosing or designing the keepsake that will last you a lifetime. All of Arnie Guest Goldsmith repairs and crafting are done in-house, so you can be rest assured that it will meet or exceed your expectations. For over 30 years, Arnie Guest Goldsmith has served Chattanooga with the finest jewelry and services, meeting only the highest quality and standards. So the next time you think of jewelry, custom design, remounting, appraisals, or repairs, remember